I'm going to go ahead and turn over to Guil Signorini, and thank you, Guil.
Good morning, everybody. Yeah. Everybody well? All good? Not too good? Mark? Be quiet. Talk louder. Okay, I'm a loud speaker. I'll get there. Okay. Thank you again for the introduction. I would like to start by welcoming everybody to Ohio State University. It's a pleasure for us to be here on behalf of the university. I thank you for taking the time, taking the day to be here with us today. And I hope we learn a lot. We have a lot of wisdom, a lot of knowledge in the room. And we have just a few of us have the opportunity to be facilitating some of the knowledge. But a lot of wisdom is in this room today, I trust it. And let's take the opportunity to brainstorm, to network, to connect with business partners, to connect with those who make reality happen. So without further ado, we are starting now the production and marketing section of the conference. I have a lot of motivation already based on the questions we had from the previous panel. One of the questions that excites me the most is, okay, how can we make a living out of this? A question that came from that corner, don't know exactly who, but great question. Can we make a living out of Pawpaw, right? And we've been studying this for the last, 4 or 5 years. I'm an economist by training, so I'm very excited to talk about financials, numbers, business. And I have something to share today that will be also connecting to what Sarah Beer mentioned at the beginning of the presentation when it comes to value adding and creating shelf-stable products, right? So, production and marketing panel, we'll take the initial 30 minutes or so to talk about a little bit of the research results we have obtained in the last 2 years, 2023. And from there, we move into a production and marketing panel. I will invite 4 flagship producers and processors to join me here on the stage, and we will continue on brainstorming and learning.
Sounds good to me. Thank you.
Sound good? All right. So please interrupt me at any time. Okay. So this is our time, it's not my time. So please interrupt me if you have questions. We are here together to learn as much as possible. Presentation I have put together here, a couple of slides. Pawpaw consumer preference research. Short outline for my talk. First, I want to emphasize and go over quickly OSU-led projects and the team that we have at OSU dealing and working with Pawpaw. All right, so I will present quickly some of these individuals that have made a difference in the last few years. Then I will jump into consumer preference experiments. We'll talk about preliminary results we have in 2 specific experiments we ran in 2022 and 2023 during the Ohio Pawpaw Festival down in Albany, Ohio, near Athens. 2 experiments, one with Pawpaw puree and one with frozen dessert, or 2 frozen dessert formulas. And again, a little bit of our effort in finding stable products that can be commercialized year long, not only during the season as is the case for fresh foods. Once we cover these results, I will connect that to what we've been speaking for the last 4 years, which is our roadmap or strategic map for entrepreneurial success in the pawpaw industry. Right? So we designed a quick and short summary of 4 macro strategies and a set of projects that the association and its members can work together to make this industry gain any space, gain momentum as we move forward. So we'll put in perspective the contributions from this talk to the industry success. Now, let's get in business. I want us all to recognize the importance of many colleagues we have at OSU working with Pawpaw. One of these individuals is Brad Birchford. Now Brandon is no longer with because of OSU, but he started this whole effort, I would say, here at OSU. It has motivated many of us. Thank you, Brad, for that. Brad helped us establish 2 experimental workshops at OSU, one in Python and one in Columbus. We started best cultural practices, investigating best cultural practices at that time. That was what, 2020, 2019, 2020 approximately. Joe Shears is here with us as well, a wealth of knowledge in plant physiology. Has worked in the last few years evaluating the best cultural practices and post-harvest handling. Interested in evaluating food compounds and food safety research. Some of this research is in development. We will have results soon to share, and I'm confident that Joe will be happy to share some of these results when it's time. We have Chris Simons from the Food Science Department. Has helped us with the sensory analysis. Part of the results that we present today has been done in partnership with Chris Simons. Matt Davis has also, he's in the school, SCNR here at OSU, and School of Natural Resources, interested in evaluating woodland management practices. Myself in the business side of the story. Then we have Rafael Jimenez Flores. He helps us develop frozen dessert formulations and produce those formulations for the experiment we ran last year during the Pawpaw Festival. We also have Sarah Felicino working extensively in so many projects led by Matt David and myself, Chris Simons, Joe Shears, and Chris Simons as well. So Sarah, she has been instrumental at developing and doing the heavy lifting behind the scenes in many of the projects we have. Then I have Sam Hoffman. Sam Hoffman is a student from the Food Science Department, also a young individual who has tremendous power, tremendous capability to grow in the next few years, has done some tremendous work in the Pawpaw segment as well. Then we have Ashley Soldavini. Ashley, we couldn't have made any of the experiments done during the Pawpaw Festival without her. She was our operations leader at making those experiments take place and happen in a rather unusual type of setting, because most of these sensory evaluations are done in labs. We adapted, she helped us adapt our protocols, our research protocols to make it happen during the festival. And Shannon from OSU Extension, also here on my left-hand side, instrumental in helping us bring the word, translate the research into practical knowledge to you guys. She has done some work in pollination practices. We will be hearing from her, and also pollen storage methods. We will be hearing from her this afternoon, along with Sarah Casino, as you can see in the program there. Ben Lima, also here on my left-hand side, has done tremendous work in the extension front, and being probably possibly the most important person at putting this event together for all of us. And Terry Brown as well, also in the extension side of our team, doing tremendous work in the extension front. So please recognize these individuals. They've been instrumental at OSU to carry OSU research and extension work in the last few years. Now this team, this very same 8 individuals, we managed to bring funding from several agencies. And here I have a list of 3 of these projects. We have another minor or small scale project also funded through a growers association here in the state of Ohio. But these projects, they've all been, we brought funds in-house to develop research based on these programs. And if there's anything concerning in this slide, which is also is a good thing, we've been being able to carry these projects forward. If there's anything concerning here, it's just the timing. So as you see, one of these projects will end by October this year. Another project runs until January 2025, and we now need fresh blood, fresh ideas, fresh efforts to bring more resources in-house and continue working diligently in Pawpaw. All right. So these are some of the projects, some of the team, OSU team, and some of the projects we have in place. And the results we've covered in the last 4 editions of the Ohio Pawpaw Conference, as well as today, were funded through Ohio Department of Agriculture or USDA or North Central STAR, which is also affiliated to USDA. Now, without further ado, let me jump into the results from the consumer preference studies that we conducted during the Pawpaw Festival in 2022-2023. Now, first question, why to study consumer preference for manufactured items? I mentioned that we did these experiments for 2 items, Pawpaw puree and frozen dessert, Pawpaw ice cream, if you will. So why? So you probably heard me talk about this before, and Sarah gave us a hint here this morning. Well, fresh food continues to propel demand. We know that. We learned that from our survey last year. I presented some preliminary results, but we also know that seasonality and perishability prevent us from selling year-round. So what is the what route can we take forward? Okay? So let's look into value addition. So value aggregation lies in shelf-stable products and other types of manufactured items. So that way, if we have stable products, we might be able to push and extend our profitable season, if you will. Right? So that's why we decided to focus these 2 studies in kind of slightly manufactured or manipulated items. You also heard me saying this before. Sorry for the small font, I will read it for you. USDA prepares and releases the U.S. food dollar value chain study every year, right? Every year they release that. There is a 2-year lag, but essentially that study repetitively shows us that value aggregation is not necessarily in farm production. So this is another picture. Basically, what this analysis from USDA tells us is that if society had $1 bill and could slice that dollar, how many cents go to each stage in the food value chain? Right, so 74, 79 cents, 7 cents, almost 8 cents go to farm production. Well, what catches more of the $1 bill? Manufacturing, packaging, 17 cents, and food services, 34 cents. So not only, what I'm trying to make the point here is not only because we need shelf-stable products, but also because we're chasing the market. Where is it at? Is it in stable products? Is it in food service industry? Right?
What is other? That's 17.8%. What's other?
Other counts for energy, finance, and insurance, advertising, and transportation. All right? Cool. These are the reasoning for us to focus on these 2 items. Moving forward, first experiment 2022, discrete choice experiment with 182 participants during the 2022 Pawpaw Festival in Albany, Ohio. Here's this is Chris Simons helping us in the experiment. These are study participants. Here you have Ashley, Sam Hoffman here helping in the experiment. And people lined up to help us and be guinea pigs in our experiment. All right? So basically what we did, we offered people 2 formulas, 2 different Pawpaw purees, not telling them what it is, all right? In addition to a set of other attributes. to see how people would react. After tasting the pawpaw puree and evaluating these attributes, people would indicate which choice they would prefer. Product A, product B, or say no. Well, if these are the only two products in the market, I'm not interested, thank you very much, I will buy something else. So participants did that, participated in this experiment twice. So we offered them 2 opportunities to show their preference over these products. And we were just handling these unknown, these unlabeled samples, pouring them in little cups, 2-ounce cups like this, and asking them to demonstrate their preference. So here are the attributes and levels we use. So here are the samples. We had a control sample, puree plus 1.5% weight-by-weight fructose addition, or puree plus 3% weight-by-weight fructose addition. Sustainability standards are either verified or absent by the the North American Pawpaw Growers Association, an eventual third-party entity that can verify sustainability standards, or sustainability standards being verified by USDA. Right? Product of origin coming from independent grower, a grower's alliance, a large-scale enterprise, and a range of prices. Okay? So this is how. So there is a rigorous statistical methodology behind the scenes that I don't want to bother you with. Here are some of the results we had, and I presented this last year. It's slightly different one. Basically, what we have here, it's showing us that people are interested in paying for pawpaw puree that has been added with some additional sweeteners. They're interested in buying pawpaw puree that has been verified in its sustainability standards. And it does not come necessarily from a large-scale enterprise. They prefer paying for products that come from independent growers or growers alliances, which is an interesting thing for considering our reality in the room. So when we evaluate the relative importance for the pawpaw puree, one interesting thing that made primarily the food scientists interested in this study is the fact that taste is not necessarily the most important product attribute. Price is important, but people care about verification. People care about origin, where the product comes from, where verification is verified, sustainability applies. Interesting results, very interesting for food scientists in particular, because they tend to believe, okay, if we have an outstanding tasty product, it will sell. It will fly out the shelves. Not necessarily. People care about other attributes as well. Now, I will skip this slide for the sake of time, but basically this just shows us the relative effect within each attribute. Okay? But the reasoning is similar to what we had before. By the way, these lines will be available to everybody. Okay? I have a QR code towards the end. You can scan it. It's going to be available to you. If not, I can email that to you. No problem whatsoever. Now, let's jump into the second experiment. This is conducted in 2023. Same principles, same idea, but we were looking into frozen dessert formulas. Choice experiment with 224 participants this time. Same situation, same location actually, same tent. People lining up to help us out. Same group running the experiment. Here's some individuals helping us with taking the survey. Here's Ashley making it happen. And here is the choice set we asked this time around. Same idea, right? So we don't want to tell participants which formulas they are tasting, they are being offered. But in addition to the taste sample, the dessert sample, there are some additional attributes, all right? Same idea. We present this to individuals in addition to the samples and say, if you were in the market for a pawpaw frozen dessert, which formula would you prefer? They would indicate their preference using these little boxes. They can certainly opt out because that's what happens in reality, right? So you go to a grocery shop, you don't find what you want, you just turn your back and go elsewhere. We did that to present participants with 3 choice tests this time. Now, these are the formulas, again, coded, so they know exactly what they were tasting, so they would indicate preference using a bullet, or this actually was digital, it wasn't anything in tablet. Now, same ideas, here are the attributes included in the experiment. We had a sorbet formula and an ice cream formula. Sustainability claims verified or absent. Similar entities, the North American Pawpaw Association, third party USDA. Organic certified or not, these are relevant, usually relevant attributes for dairy products. So we decided to include that this time around, and price per pint. Now, strikingly, this time around, people did not care much about all their attributes except for taste and price. Don't worry too much about this column, just notice that this is statistically significant for the sorbet formula. Price, statistically significant for opt-out. So when we estimate willingness to pay estimates, we have a statistically significant value for the formula. I should have said one thing, I'm sorry. There is one slight difference between this experiment and the Pawpaw period. So I mentioned that they were offered 3 scenarios, okay? In the first two scenarios, they were asked to say, I prefer this product versus that. Very regular, it's the same way we did for the Pawpaw period. In the third try, in the third set, the choice set, we asked participants, would you buy this? You can buy it because there was a $5 incentive to participate in this experiment. So in the third round, you say, would you give up your $5 incentive and take a pint of ice cream of your choice with you? Well, some individuals decided to take, some individuals decided not to. And then what happened is, out of the 244 individuals that participated in the experiment, only 87 decided to purchase, and 157 decided not to purchase. Okay? Possibly because our formulas were not so tasty as we anticipated, and Valerie has helped me in providing some feedback.
You should have had surveyed.
What?
You should have had surveyed.
That's right. That's right. So we decided, this is the feedback for Rafael Jimenez, who was responsible for the department's go.
Was there a place, I'm just thinking about other reasons, was there a place where people could keep their frozen dessert frozen while they were at the festival? Or would they have had to take it home?
No, there was not. That might be a reason. But they were defined, first, they were at the festival, enjoying themselves with so many other things. Yeah, if the intention was to bring it home and eat later, that would perhaps be a barrier. We didn't explore that. That's a good point. It's a valid point. Now, what I want to even if we set this aside, if we all consider the fact that we created an experiment that is similar to the previous one, and examined the full sample, this time around the formula taste was was prevalent over all the other attributes. So here you have, when we prepare this relative importance graph, you see that the taste aspect was, relatively speaking, was more important than any other attribute. And we wondered why. Why we see this striking difference between ice cream and Pawpaw puree? What's happening here? And we were searching for answers. Myself and the food scientists were, well, this is not what we would expect after what the results we obtained in 2022. But we move forward. So here is just a graph in those who purchased in the subsample and those who did not purchase. Basically what we see here is a small trade-off, right? So those who did not purchase possibly there was a budget restriction taking place. They preferred $5 over the product. So there's a trade-off between taste, right? So if we compare these two graphs, there's a trade-off between taste and the other attributes, primarily price and verification. Price and verification were not so important for those who made a purchase, while those who did not buy, price was more relevant, relatively speaking, and verification was more important, relatively speaking. Okay? But still, we were curious to see why we had this difference between these two products. So we decided to run a third experiment with a more established product that pretty much everybody in the room knows. Let's talk about orange juice for a moment, just for the sake of comparison as we move forward. I know that we are not much interested in oranges here. We are more in the pawpaws, but interesting results to help us create a base for comparison. Third experiment, choice experiment with 275 participants, this time conducted in a lab setting at OSU in Columbus, Ohio. Pros and cons compared to the previous settings. Now, this time around we are in a lab, so we have more control over the experiment. We completely remove the ecological validity. In other words, we are putting places in small boxes and say, hey, pay full attention to what's going on here. Forget about the surroundings. There is no surroundings to look or get distracted with. Well, this is not what truly happens. So the ecological validity is a discussion that the scientists are always interested in talking. Third point, key differences versus the Pawpaw dessert study. Orange juice is established product. Most of us have tried and know what orange juice looks like and tastes like. And the panel of participants tend to represent a better population in the orange juice experiment because the panel tries to cover all aspects of the society, while in the festival we are sampling festival attendees, right? Which might be, we were inviting people and inviting people to come regardless. Now, same principle, offered individuals four choice sets this time, didn't tell them what formulas they were experimenting with, and other additional attributes, processing claims, fresh squeezed or not concentrated, composition claims, or 100% juice or not, no GMO certification, one of those blue logos we see in food items very often in the grocery store. People would evaluate the samples, would take a look at the other attributes and indicate preference. Same principle, people could opt out because, again, this is what happens in reality. Here are the attributes. They're an example of products that are out there. These prices are for 52-ounce bottles, just like those we commonly see in the grocery shop. Attributes included in this experiment: orange juice baseline, orange juice plus sucrose oxidate that will make the orange juice a little bit bitter than the baseline. And a third sample, orange juice baseline plus 1% weight by weight fructose to make it sweeter. So we have the baseline, the bitter, and the sweeter. Okay? Processing claims, fresh squeezed, not from concentrate, from concentrate. Those are remarks that you can read in the bottle as you are in the shop looking for orange juice products. Composition claims, either mentioning 100% juice or being absent. Non-GMO certification, the logo shows at the bottom or not, and price. Okay? Results were again interesting in the sense that this time we see all statistical significance. So more similar to what we saw in the Pawpaw puree and not as much, and then different from what we saw in the Pawpaw frozen dessert experiment. When the formula is bitter, people are less willing to pay, 80 cents per bottle. Sweet formula, 60 cents more, they're willing to pay more for sweet formulas. Fresh squeeze plain, people value more that type of that claim on the bottom than anything else. Or 100% juice claim, also a relatively considerable amount. People are willing to pay more considered compared to not having any sort of claim. Oh, I pointed to the wrong line. Sorry, not from concentrate. $1.65. But the point here I want to make is now we see this significance again, similar to what we saw in the Pawpaw puree and different from what we saw in the Pawpaw studies. Here are the relatively important facts. Price being the most important attribute. So if basically orange juice was a little bit cheaper, people would buy more. Taste being important but not as important as processing. And again, we have this interesting aspect of taste. Taste is important but not the most important attribute in orange juice products. And we were then considering why. We were trying to dig for reasons for these results, and here's an interesting point that comes back to Pawpaws, comes back to our reality here that we need to consider quite from the get-go as we are developing products, developing effective items, looking to shelf-stable products. Marketing literature has done some work, and there's some interesting findings showing connection between unhealthy and tasty. Basically, if we are in the market for an unhealthy item, junk food, or whatever we can, whatever label, bad connotation label we want to put into it. Unhealthy connects to tasty. So when people go after unhealthy foods, they really want to experience taste. And the opposite is true. So if people are more interested in functional foods, people do give up some taste over other attributes. People are willing to give up taste for other attributes. That's quite interesting. This is a study. There are several papers coming from this groups of researchers indicating this. So if we could use the same principles, right? So if we could draw a line between utilitarian foods and hedonic foods, there's a continuum of different types of products. Well, we could imagine, where do we put puree, where do we put frozen desserts, and where do we put orange juice? And we were brainstorming, so well, when people buy Pawpaw puree, they are not necessarily trying to indulge themselves. They are interested in evaluating the attributes. Most likely people are buying puree to produce something else, to mix in a drink, to make a pie. So we are interested in the components. We are interested in digging deeper into what is in here, right? In frozen dessert, it's the opposite. Frozen dessert is just right? So we are in ice cream for the pleasure, for the indulgence of, or the taste that it might carry. And orange juice, most of the time we are in orange juice because it's healthier than a soda. It doesn't taste as good, but again, okay, I'm into this because of the utility derived from this product and not for the taste itself. So this is something that we are still building on, but this is what it looks like, which helps us explain why the taste attribute grows from the utilitarian. Okay, so this box relates to this little dot here. Taste becomes a little bit more important as we move in the line towards hedonic foods, where frozen dessert is the most important, taste is the most important attribute. So our findings pretty much reinforce the findings or the discussion that these marketing scholars have discussed in the past. And we find it quite relevant and bring this as an information to you, trying to make it sense for our reality here. Again, if we are here discussing opportunities for manufactured items or pawpaw puree, there might be some differences or aspects that we need to consider. Right? So if we are talking about more utilitarian, if we are talking about puree, maybe the association itself can help us build these additional attributes that are equally or more important to the decision-making process coming from the consumer than the taste itself. Now, if you're 4 or 5, 6 of us are getting together to produce mass pawpaw ice cream, well, no, then we better take care and make sure that our product is tasty. Because that's what seems to matter most for consumers out there. Not so much the other attributes, but tasty matters. Okay? With that, I want to wrap up saying that we are continuing to work on the roadmap for industry success. This is a material that we shared in previous editions of the Pawpaw conference. This is currently under review in a scientific outlet. Will be out shortly. But our contributions necessarily are focusing, talking, and we are trying to add value in product development. So depending on what we are discussing, depending on what we are developing, we need to take care of different aspects of these products. Okay? Establishing an ambassadors program in terms of having one or few among us who might be willing to take the lead in developing new formulas, new products, new tastes for pawpaw products, and perhaps facilitated by the association, making this individual ambassador in a specific front, as we will all profit from it, all benefit from it. And perhaps having the association facilitating these connections, creating these institutional relationships. So with that, as I mentioned before, with that I wrap up. I don't have anything else to present at this point. I'm sorry that I'm a little bit over time. I want to make sure that we have plenty of space for the pawpaw producers and marketeers, participants. Here you have the QR code for the presentation. You can scan it. This is going to take you to a folder. The only item in the folder is the presentation. These 7 slides. If you experience any problems downloading it, send me an email afterwards. This is my email address. I will be happy to send you away the presentation. So, Dan, can I just keep going? I have one slide here that will help us introduce the panelists.
We're going to break for lunch.
You're going to break?
I need the panelists put together.
Can you bring that code back up?
Oh, sure. Right, so the instruction I received here is we have a break for lunch. Production and marketing panel will follow lunch. I'm sorry for being standing between all the good presentations we had in the morning and lunch here.